Well, good morning, and thank you all for being here. I want to talk about two pieces of legislation that I've been working on. One is called SAGE's Law, and the other is my artificial intelligence legislation. And I'll let you know where they currently stand. At the core of both of these is a simple principle: government should protect freedom and be transparent and accountable. When systems stop being transparent or accountable, it is our responsibility to step in and fix it. SAGE's Law. If you happen to watch President Trump's State of the Union address, he announced Sage Blair, and so this bill is named after her. SAGE's Law is about restoring parental rights and ensuring transparency between schools and families. Right now, what we're seeing across the country and here in Missouri is a growing disconnect between what happens in schools and what parents are told or not told about their own children. We have seen school policies, even here in Missouri, where schools have adopted guidance that limits or discourages notifying parents about significant decisions involving their children. That issue is now in front of the courts, and even the U.S. Supreme Court has weighed in and confirmed that parents, not schools, are the primary caretakers and decision makers for their children. This is a real issue that has real-world consequences, and it's affecting the lives of Missouri children and families. We have heard of multiple situations right here where parents have already been kept in the dark intentionally regarding their child's social transition at school. In Indiana, there was a case recently where a school was sued over not disclosing information to parents. A teacher involved in that situation ultimately received a judgment of approximately $200,000. One of the most notable situations is in California, where schools were required to acquire student permission to disclose. So understand that the children were giving permission to disclose this type of information to their own parents. That is the case where the Supreme Court weighed in with their opinion during the appeals process, and they made it clear that parents have a constitutional right to be informed. And again, this is not just happening somewhere else. We already have seen and know of situations happening right here. We have schools here in Missouri doing the same thing. Sometimes it's written directly into policy manuals, and other times it's happening more discreetly. And we've heard about the closets at schools where kids are changing their clothes once they arrive at school because they don't want their parents' knowledge. This is unacceptable. It's not the place to happen in public schools. It's a violation of parents' constitutional rights, and it needs correction. What SAGE's Law would do is three things. One, it would require transparency. Schools must communicate with parents about significant issues involving their children. Two, it reinforces parental rights. Parents are recognized as the primary decision makers in their child's life. And three, it creates accountability, ensures there are consequences when systems intentionally withhold information. And this matters because parents are not the enemy. They are the first line of support, protection, and guidance for their children. When institutions step in and cut parents out, that's not just a policy issue, it's a breakdown of trust. And more importantly, it's a violation of parents' constitutional rights. Parents and not government systems should be making these decisions. And it's unfortunate that the Missouri Senate would prioritize by a 9-hour filibuster on cannabis over protecting parental rights and protecting children. It's appalling. Artificial intelligence. As you know, and I'm sure each one of you, myself included, use artificial intelligence probably on a daily basis. I think artificial intelligence is an amazing tool, and we should always have it at disposal. We should always allow room for innovation. It's developing so rapidly, but it comes with risks and real opportunity. Artificial intelligence is already being used in ways that I'm sure you're aware of that can impact elections, reputations, and everyday life. So my goal has been simple: make sure artificial intelligence is used responsibly while protecting Missourians from keeping our state competitive. We've been working directly with the White House to ensure the bill fits within their framework while still accomplishing our goals here in Missouri. And my focus has been very clear. I want to keep the broadband funding that has been in the President's executive order prohibiting states from enacting any regulation on AI. And I want to maintain human accountability. AI as a tool, it should never be a person nor gain legal personhood. And we need to put reasonable guardrails in place to prevent abuse, especially around deception and harm with these chatbots and the children. 2 Republican senators have raised concerns and have filibustered my bill, but it primarily around the federal requirements that are tied to the broadband funding. We've taken those issues seriously, and again, I'm working with the White House, have had many conversations with them. As a matter of fact, even today, they're looking at the latest version of my bill. So I am hopeful, and I use that word intentionally, hopeful, that we'll have clarity very soon and able to move forward. AI, again, is moving so fast and the risks are real, whether it's deep fakes, fraud, or systems being used to mislead people. But the solution isn't overreach, it's clear, responsible guardrails. The bill draws a couple bright lines. AI is not a person, it's a tool to be used by humans and not something to replace humans. People are responsible for what AI does, not the machine. In closing, both of these efforts, SAGE's law and AI legislation, come back to the very same idea: transparency, accountability, and protecting the people of Missouri. We're going to keep working, keep pushing, and keep communicating as this moves forward. If you have questions, comments, you can always reach out to my office. We would welcome those. I appreciate your time, and with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Go ahead, Rudy.
I'm just curious, the SAGE's law, there are children who have, people who have expressed this concern that their parents would abandon them. There have been news stories about people whose sexual orientation causes their family to just throw them out. How does that fit, the concerns of that person fit into the bill that you're pushing?
Well, first of all, I don't think public schools is the place for this to happen. Public schools need to be focused on educating our children. If there is an abuse at home, or even attempt abuse or thought, we have other organizations that school teachers, counselors, administration need to reach out to. It should not be handled within the school and keeping anything from the parent. Let the authorities deal with it.
I'm going off topic. So what, you were one of the 3 Republicans who voted no on the income tax resolution. What motivated, I know you spoke on the floor, but talk about that no vote and why you decided to vote that way.
I did not think this question would come up.
Oh, I know, right? Who would have thought?
There's a few reasons, and I spoke on the Senate floor last night and expressed the reasons. Number one, I have no constituent, and I'm honest about this, not one that is talking about income tax to phase it out. But I've got hundreds that want property tax reform, and that's been my priority. That property tax reform was stated in our Republican caucus as our #1 priority. And we have 4 weeks left. And what do we have? My county has been left out from last year. It's still left out for this year. So that's number one. I don't have a constituent that wants it. And they're hollering about property taxes. Number two, income tax, I don't think to give the General Assembly 5 years and removing some constitutional limits to try to figure this out. I mentioned this on the floor. We're now going to take all kinds of time, legislative time, debating, arguing, and trying to figure this whole thing out. I just don't think it's good. I don't think it's good for the state. I don't think we have an income tax problem compared to other states, like my colleagues do. And how is this? We're going to start taxing services now. Matter of fact, if you look at the bill, it's kind of across the board. We can start taxing whatever, and I have major concerns about that. So I've got a lot of issues with that. But number one, I just don't think that's a priority. I didn't like how the process was handled last night. I haven't been, income tax reduction, look, I'd love to see taxes go away. As many taxes as we possibly can get, I would love it. But I'm very concerned about this process and even the process of how the bill came to the floor and what we, how we voted it out and all of that. And I mentioned last night, yeah, we can have this bill come to the floor anytime. It seemed rushed, it seemed pushed, and it's after midnight. And the people aren't here, the people aren't, even have access to it. So I have a lot of concerns with that.
Most people were probably locked in on their vote, but were you disappointed when Democrats didn't join yourself and Senator Huff and Senator Moon in raising some of the criticisms that you all had about the bill? Did it surprise you that you heard nothing from the Democratic side of the aisle on that?
No, I would have been surprised if I wasn't told ahead of time that there was some kind of deal that worked out and they were going to be fine with it. So I expected that.
And they were going to be silent?
And they were going to be silent. They were not going to filibuster is what I was told.
Wow.
And here's another thing, Rudy, that is just frustrating being a senator. I get more information about what we're going to do on the floor from lobbyists. We had this discussion last year when you brought me a document that we've been asking for. The information and communication is poor. Me being a senator, I should know what we're doing, when we're going to do it, not be told one thing and then something else happens. I was told we weren't voting on that bill last night. It was going to be Monday. But we third read it last night. So it's frustrating, with the whole communication. And when there's deals and negotiations going on that I'm not a part of, well, yeah, they say any senator can be in part of any meeting anywhere. Well, where is it and what time is it? Do I go around to every office and start opening doors and saying, is there a meeting going on? So.
Within the Senate is a House resolution on property taxes. It does a couple of things, but it silos the different rates so that one, basically they're not affected by
Right.
a Hancock. Is that something you would support and you kind of want to see moving forward in the Senate?
I do like that, and I spoke in favor of it. However, there is something in there that needs to be changed because that's what was out of control in Jackson County, and that's the 15% cap on property tax unless you do a physical inspection. Well, that's what happened in my county. They said they did physical inspections, they didn't, and then they raised them way above 15%. If we're going to leave that alone, no, I'm not in favor of it. But I like the siloing, yeah.
On AI, you said that you took offense at the federal government kind of issuing threats to the states that want to pass AI laws. And there have been lots of bills, on both sides of the Capitol addressing various parts of AI. If the White House is less than enthusiastic about your bill or doesn't give the go-ahead, would you be willing to fight back? Or do you think Missouri lawmakers more broadly might be willing to kind of take a stand?
Second part of your question, probably not. I mean, I had two senators that are I'm concerned. I don't want the state to lose broadband funding. These other two senators were concerned. They have more of a rural district than I do, and I completely understand that. But if they feel like that's going to happen, then the bill's not going to come back up again because it's just going to get filibustered. Would I like to keep pushing for it? Absolutely. I mean, we have kids committing suicide. We have all kinds of things. The jobs are at stake here. It's not coming, it's here. People are going to be losing jobs, and part of my bill would prevent that. For people that are certified and licensed, and we have a list now of who that this would protect. I don't want to call my doctor and have an AI machine diagnosing my problem or prescribing my medication. This is already beginning to happen in our country. We've got to start putting some guardrails on here. I would prefer that the U.S. Congress move on this and have some legislation for the country, but they haven't. And from what I understand now, they're not going to do anything this year. So in the meantime, AI is rapidly advancing, and we have no regulation on it whatsoever. And I'm a firm 10th Amendment believer. It's states' rights. It is the states that created the federal government, not the other way around. And I think we tend to lose that understanding. We are a sovereign state, and we need legislators that stand up and act like we're a sovereign state. Absolutely. Any other questions? Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
You bet.